John had always been a diligent farmer, tending to his crops and livestock with care. One crisp autumn morning, he set out to the barn to check on his animals. As he pushed open the heavy wooden doors, he was met with an unexpected sight: a litter of tiny mewling creatures nestled in the corner. At first glance, they appeared to be kittens, their soft fur and small size making them seem utterly adorable. However, the vet's reaction would shock him to his core, and this would only be the beginning of an unexpected adventure. "Oh, look at you! What are you doing here?" he asked the kittens, surprised to find them in his barn. This explained the soft wailing sounds he'd been hearing whenever he came to feed his animals recently. Those kittens must have been hidden somewhere in the barn for a while already. Farmer John slowly approached the kittens, not wanting to scare them away. They were all still really tiny, and he wondered where their mother was. She probably brought them here to keep them safe from any wild animals surrounding the farm, but where had she gone? "I'm going to take care of you until she comes back," he told the little kittens, expecting their mother to return and come to get them soon. The kittens were truly adorable, and Farmer John carefully walked up to them, wanting to pet them. There were 5 of them, and each one had beautiful blue eyes. As John approached them, they started meowing and circling his legs, seeming happy to see him. "Are you hungry?" he asked, chuckling at their excitement and soft meows. He told them, "All right, I hear you. I'll go and get you something to eat." And he left and quickly closed the door behind him. He ran to the house, hurrying to tell his wife about the discovery he just made. "Fiona, come quickly!" he yelled from the kitchen, grabbing some food for the kittens. "You won't believe what I just found." Fiona gasped when she finally laid eyes on the kittens. "Oh my, where did these come from? They are adorable!" And she immediately sat down on the floor next to them to pet them. The kittens were just as excited to see her, and they started jumping all over her, and Fiona and John both burst out laughing. "What are we going to do with them?" she asked. "Well, I imagine their mom will come for them soon. But until then, we could take care of them, right?" John mused. Fiona agreed, and the next few days, the 2 of them made sure the little cats had enough water and food, and they occasionally played with them. The kittens were very active and playful, and they loved it. Days passed, and John and Fiona saw no signs of the mother cat. After a few weeks, they realized that the mother cat was probably not going to come back anymore. There were plenty of dangerous wild animals in the area, and she might have gotten hurt. "What should we do now? Do you still want to keep them?" Fiona asked her husband. John thought about it for a moment, and then he came up with a plan. "We could keep a few of them if you want, and we can put the others up for adoption. We'll make sure they find a loving and caring owner. What do you think?" Fiona liked this idea, and they decided that that was what they were going to do. The first step was to get the kittens checked by a vet. Because their mother had left them so young, they first wanted to make sure all of them were healthy. John called Dr. Nichols the next morning, telling him about the kittens that were living in his barn and asking whether he could come to take a look at them. John managed to get an appointment for the same day, and he continued with the rest of his work. A couple of hours later, Dr. Nichols finally arrived and asked to see the kittens. John led him to the barn, excited to show his new pets. "Just wait until you see them. They are really some special kittens," he told the vet. They entered the barn, and John showed Dr. Nichols the kittens. "Here they are," he said, showing them off like a proud father. However, Dr. Nichols' expression was not what he had expected. The vet was just staring at the kittens, and his mouth fell open. "These are the kittens you found?" he asked, as his face turned pale. "Yes, the 5 of them. They've been here for a couple of weeks now, and we've planned to keep 1 or 2 and put the others up for adoption. I really think—" "John, I'm sorry, but you can't do that," Dr. Nichols interrupted him coldly. John looked at him, confused and not understanding why he reacted like that. "Excuse me?" "Yes, you heard me. You cannot put these kittens up for adoption, John. Don't you realize what they are?" he responded. John glanced at the kittens and repeated the vet's question. "What they are?" "Well, yeah, they're little kittens who have been abandoned by their mom. Don't you want to help them?" he asked. He still had no idea what was going on. "John, I hate to break it to you, but these are not just ordinary kittens, and I'm afraid you cannot keep them. I'm going to make a call now, and someone will come get them right away. These kittens cannot stay here in your barn. You have to listen to me," the vet explained. John still didn't understand why, but it sounded very serious and urgent. "Mr. Nichols, thanks for the advice, but I can't let you just take them away. We've been taking care of them for a while now. They're part of our family." Dr. Nichols scoffed and said, "John, listen to me. You don't know what you're doing. This is too dangerous," he replied. He wasn't going to just give up. John's gaze remained unwavering as he confronted Dr. Nichols. "They're just kittens. What's the big deal?" Dr. Nichols sighed deeply, looking troubled. "John, I can't explain everything right now, but believe me when I say it's imperative that we contact specialists." This only heightened John's suspicion. "Specialists? For kittens?" he echoed in disbelief. Meanwhile, the kittens played innocently in the corner, their eyes gleaming with curiosity. Despite the unsettling mystery surrounding the kittens, Fiona and John couldn't help but grow more attached to them. Each evening, they would sit in the barn, playing with the creatures, laughing at their antics, and marveling at their radiant blue eyes. With every soft purr and playful meow, the bond between the couple and the kittens deepened. The animals became a comforting, joyous escape from the uncertainties looming ahead. On one of his reluctant visits, Dr. Nichols watched the couple interact with the kittens, a deep frown creasing his forehead. "I understand you've grown fond of them," he began cautiously, "but it's crucial you understand the need for experts in this matter." John replied defiantly, "They seem fine to us. They're healthy, playful. What's the issue?" Dr. Nichols only shook his head, refusing to reveal more, leaving the couple even more puzzled. The day after the vet's enigmatic visit, John and Fiona sat together in their living room, the kittens frolicking around them. "Have you noticed how they sometimes glow in a way?" Fiona whispered, her eyes on the kittens. John nodded. "I thought I was just imagining things, and the way Dr. Nichols acted, it's like he's seen this before." The couple pondered in silence, feeling they were on the cusp of something much larger. Fiona leaned into John, wrapping her arm around him. "John, whatever these kittens are or wherever they come from, they've come to us for a reason. We can't just abandon them." John looked down at the kittens, watching as they intertwined their tails and nuzzled each other. "I know," he murmured. "No matter what Dr. Nichols says or what mysteries they hold, they're part of our family now." The couple united in their determination to protect the enigmatic kittens, come what may. News of the enchanting kittens spread through the town like wildfire. From the baker at the corner store to the school teacher at the local elementary school, everyone buzzed with whispers and shared glances of intrigue. It wasn't long before the whole town knew about the peculiar kittens John and Fiona were sheltering. "Did you hear about those radiant kittens at the Smith's place?" became a frequently heard refrain. With the growing buzz, it wasn't surprising when John and Fiona began receiving unexpected guests. Neighbours, acquaintances, even strangers all arrived at their doorstep, eager for a glimpse of the kittens. While some were genuinely captivated by the kittens' charm, others were skeptics, hoping to debunk the rumours surrounding them. The Smiths' quiet home transformed into a hub of activity and curiosity. But with attention came controversy. Some townsfolk believed that the kittens were a blessing, a unique treasure to be cherished. Others were wary, convinced they were an omen or a cause for concern. Heated debates broke out in town meetings, and the local diner became a hotspot for discussions. "Shouldn't we call experts?" one would argue. "Leave the Smiths alone," another would counter. The town was clearly divided on the kittens' fate. John could feel the increasing pressure. Seeing the division in the town and fearing for the kittens' safety, he contemplated making changes. "We might need to fortify the barn," he mused one evening. With Fiona's agreement, they began setting up barriers, installing surveillance cameras, and even considering a security detail. Their primary goal was to protect the kittens from any harm or unwanted attention. One afternoon, a group of elderly residents gathered on the Smiths' porch. "This isn't the first time," Mrs. Thompson began, her voice trembling with age and emotion. "Many years ago, similar kittens appeared in our town." Nods of agreement passed among the group. They spoke of mysterious happenings, unexplained phenomena, and the deep bonds the older generation had once formed with such creatures. The tales were filled with wonder, awe, and a hint of caution. As the sun broke through the early morning mist, a sleek vehicle pulled into the Smiths' driveway. Out stepped Dr. Helena Grant, a renowned wildlife conservationist, followed closely by her team of experts. John and Fiona watched with apprehension. The town's gossip machine had done its job. Dr. Grant greeted them with a professional nod. "We're here about the kittens," she declared, her intent clear. With utmost care, the experts began their examination. They took measurements, noted patterns, and collected samples. The kittens, for their part, seemed unperturbed by the attention, purring softly as they were handled. John and Fiona hovered close by, their concern evident. Every piece of equipment and every whispered conversation between the experts added to the growing tension in the room. After hours of meticulous scrutiny, Dr. Grant and her team retreated to their makeshift lab in the Smiths' barn, leaving John and Fiona in anxious anticipation. The experts reviewed their findings, making silent observations and sharing knowing looks. From time to time, John would attempt to glean information, but they remained tight-lipped, their faces revealing nothing, intensifying the aura of mystery. As evening descended, Dr. Grant approached John and Fiona. Clearing her throat, she began, "These kittens are not ordinary." Pausing for effect, she continued, "Their lineage, it's something we've seen before, but it's exceedingly rare." Fiona leaned in, her curiosity piqued. Dr. Grant hesitated, seemingly caught between her professional discretion and the urge to share more. "They're special," was all she divulged. Before departing, Dr. Grant left the Smiths with a solemn promise. "We'll be in touch soon regarding our final decision." Her words, though intended to reassure, left an uneasy feeling in the air. As their vehicle disappeared into the night, John and Fiona clung to each other, holding on to the hope that the kittens they'd grown to love would remain with them, safe and sound. Everywhere they went, John and Fiona felt eyes on them. The bakery, the post office, even the park where they often strolled, whispers followed them. The town's insatiable curiosity was palpable. Stares, hushed conversations, and pointed questions became a daily routine. The weight of collective speculation bore down on them, making every outing a lesson in resilience. Tossing and turning, the couple found rest elusive. Night after night, they'd lie awake, their minds racing. "What if they take them away, John?" Fiona's voice trembled. John sighed deeply, caressing her hand. "We won't let that happen," he whispered. Their fears intermingled in the dark, casting a shadow over their once peaceful home. "Maybe we should move them," Fiona mused one evening, gazing at the kittens playing, somewhere away from prying eyes. John looked thoughtful. The barn had become too exposed, too central to the town's ever-growing curiosity. The idea of hiding the kittens, of shielding them from the world's glare, began to take root in their minds. Suspicion was rife. Neighbours, once friendly, now regarded the Smiths with a mixture of curiosity and skepticism. "Why are they being so secretive?" Mrs. Thompson wondered aloud at the grocery store. "What are they hiding?" Mr. Gray added, stoking the flames of distrust. The couple felt the strain, their trust in the community fraying. In the privacy of their home, John and Fiona huddled close, a map spread out before them. "There's an old cabin, my grandfather's place," John murmured, tracing a path with his finger. "It's remote, hidden away." Fiona's eyes sparkled with hope. "A safe haven," she whispered back. Their plan, still fragile, began to solidify, a chance to protect what they held dear. The morning sun was interrupted by unfamiliar shadows at the farmhouse. Two stern-faced men in crisp suits stood at the entrance. Their badges gleamed as they introduced themselves. "Federal Agents Smith and Ramirez," one announced. John and Fiona exchanged uneasy glances. The quiet of the countryside was abruptly shattered, replaced by the gravity of official business. Inside the living room, the agents pulled out notebooks. "We've received reports about peculiar kittens on this property," Agent Smith began. Fiona swallowed hard, her hands clenching. "What do you know about them?" Agent Ramirez probed. The couple tried to remain composed, responding cautiously, aware that every word was being weighed and analyzed. The room's atmosphere grew tense. "You need to understand," Agent Smith started, "this isn't a simple matter. These kittens could have national significance." Agent Ramirez added, "It's crucial you cooperate fully." Their stern expressions made clear the gravity of the situation. The couple nodded, absorbing the weight of the agent's words, a sinking feeling settling in their chests. After the agents left, the house felt eerily silent. John and Fiona sat, the weight of the day pressing down on them. "What have we gotten ourselves into?" Fiona murmured. John looked lost, rubbing his temples. "I don't know, but we need to figure out our next steps, and fast." Their sanctuary felt compromised, the future uncertain. Just when despair seemed inevitable, a knock sounded at the door. Mrs. Bennett, the town's elderly librarian, stood there. "I couldn't help but overhear," she whispered, her eyes twinkling with a hint of mischief. "I might have some information that could help." Grateful for an ally in these trying times, John and Fiona eagerly welcomed her inside. After a lengthy discussion with Mrs. Bennett, there was another knock at the door. It was the conservationist from before. "I've been following the situation," he began, pausing to measure their reaction. "I think it's time we work together." The surprise in their eyes was evident, but there was also relief. A possible solution to their predicament was within reach. Over a pot of tea, the conservationist detailed his experience with rare and unique animals. "I've seen many creatures, but these kittens are unparalleled." John and Fiona exchanged looks. While apprehensive, they realized they needed expert guidance. "We're in," John finally said, shaking the conservationist's hand. They were diving into the unknown, but at least they weren't alone. As days passed, the conservationist grew more familiar, occasionally letting slip subtle hints about the kitten's peculiarities. "They're different," he'd muse, gazing deeply into the kitten's eyes. "Their behavior, it's unlike any domesticated cat I've seen." Fiona's curiosity piqued. "What are you not telling us?" she pressed. The conservationist simply smiled, his eyes hiding a world of secrets. Recognizing the uniqueness of their charges, the conservationists initiated training sessions. "Handling special animals requires unique skills," he advised. The living room became a makeshift training ground filled with odd tools and techniques. The couple learned about dietary needs, proper handling, and environmental accommodations. It was challenging, but John and Fiona were determined to provide the best care. Each day of learning deepened John and Fiona's bond with the kittens. Their little antics, playful nuzzles, and curious meows only made them more endearing. Even amidst the enveloping mystery and pressure, the simple joys these kittens brought were undeniable. The connection was palpable, a testament to love's ability to transcend the unexplained and uncertain. Bright and early, the conservationist began the training. "Every creature has its quirks," he explained, laying out specialized tools and charts. John and Fiona listened intently, absorbing every detail about diet, health, and safety precautions. The room buzzed with a mix of apprehension and anticipation. The journey of caring for these rare kittens had officially commenced. During a handling exercise, Fiona noticed one of the kittens effortlessly climb up a vertical surface, its claws acting almost magnetically. Another kitten seemed to communicate in soft, harmonious whistles. "It's their unique nature," the conservationist observed, scribbling notes. Each discovery heightened the intrigue, making the couple wonder what other secrets these kittens held. With each passing training session, John and Fiona found themselves more enamored with the kittens. Their distinct behaviors and evident intelligence only added to the charm. The kittens seemed to sense their guardian's dedication, curling up with them during breaks, purring contentedly. The challenges of rare animal care were formidable, but love and commitment smoothed the path. Late one evening, as the training materials lay scattered around, John looked at Fiona with worry-lined eyes. "Are we in over our heads?" he mused. Fiona sighed, gazing at the slumbering kittens. "I don't know," she admitted, "but we can't turn back now. They need us." Their love for the kittens was unwavering, but doubts clouded the horizon. The clock struck midnight, and an unexpected sound echoed through the house, a harmonious, melodious hum. The couple rushed to the living room, finding the kittens circling together, producing an ethereal glow. The scene was otherworldly. As the kittens' song reached its peak, the room was bathed in soft luminescence. John and Fiona exchanged amazed glances. This night would change everything. Gathering in the warm glow of the living room, the conservationist began, "It's time you know their story." With a deep breath, he unfolded an ancient-looking manuscript illustrating a feline resembling the kittens. These aren't just ordinary creatures, they're a relic of a time long forgotten. The room hung heavy with suspense as John and Fiona awaited the unraveling of the enigma. They belonged to a lineage of felines thought to be extinct, the conservationist continued. Their ancestors were revered, possessing abilities unknown to modern cats. The couple's eyes widened in astonishment. Learning of their rarity and the deep historical and cultural significance the species carried, John and Fiona grappled with the enormity of their responsibility. Their home now sheltered living legends. The weight of the revelation was palpable. Their survival is paramount, emphasized the conservationist. Discussions around conservation efforts, possible sanctuaries, and long-term protection plans filled the room. The kittens, sensing the intense atmosphere, huddled closer to their human guardians. John and Fiona, caught in the whirlwind of decisions, yearned for a moment of clarity. As hours turned into days, the idea of relinquishing the kittens seemed impossible. The conservationist, observing their bond, proposed, "Why not transform your farm into a protected habitat?" It was a daunting responsibility, but one John and Fiona were willing to consider. The thought of becoming custodians of a species' legacy was both overwhelming and exhilarating. Reflecting on their journey, the couple felt an inexplicable pull towards their feline companions. From their unexpected arrival to the mystical events that followed, it seemed the universe conspired to bring them together. Fiona whispered, "Perhaps we were chosen for this." John nodded in agreement, believing in their destined role as protectors of a feline lineage lost in time. Near the outskirts of the farm, a soft, plaintive cry echoed. It seemed familiar, yet distinct. Upon investigation, John and Fiona stumbled upon a majestic feline, evidently the mother of their beloved kittens. Her eyes, filled with a mix of fear and hope, seemed to plead for their aid. The realization was immediate, and their mission was clear: to reunite the family. As the mother entered the barn, the kittens' reactions were instantaneous. They bounded towards her, their joyous purrs filling the space. The reunion was an emotional tableau, with tears in Fiona's eyes and John's voice choked with emotion. Witnessing the raw power of the bond between a mother and her offspring, the couple felt their hearts swell with indescribable happiness. Word of their dedication spread like wildfire, transforming their humble farm into a sanctuary for endangered species. More animals, each with a unique tale of survival, found refuge in their haven. With sprawling landscapes, shelters, and dedicated care areas, the farm bloomed into an oasis of hope. Their once simple life now echoed with the calls and chirps of myriad creatures. In the conservation community, whispers of John and Fiona's commitment turned into resounding praises. They were no longer just farmers. They became champions of the endangered, stalwarts in the fight against extinction. Invitations to conferences, collaborations with renowned experts, and accolades flowed in. But for the couple, their greatest reward remained the grateful eyes of the creatures they protected. Years rolled by, yet John and Fiona's zeal never waned. From rescues to rehabilitation, their mission was clear: safeguard nature's treasures. Their legacy became one of love, commitment, and an unwavering resolve to make a difference. As they stood hand in hand, overlooking their sanctuary, they realized they weren't just caretakers of a farm, but guardians of nature's tapestry. While cleaning the farmhouse attic, Fiona stumbled upon an old leather-bound journal, its pages yellowed by time. The intricate handwriting seemed to belong to another era. The book was meticulously filled with tales, sketches, and musings. Intrigued, she dusted it off and began reading aloud, with John eagerly listening by her side. To their astonishment, the entries detailed the adventures of John's great-grandfather, who had discovered and cared for a similar pair of mysterious kittens. The sketches mirrored the ones they had grown so fond of. This uncanny resemblance left them stunned. Could it be that history was repeating itself, weaving their destinies together? John was awestruck, processing the revelation. The weight of destiny dawned on him. "It was always meant to be our journey," he whispered. "The care, the connection, the commitment. It was as if history had designed this path specifically for them." Their role in the kitten's tale wasn't just serendipity. It was a familial calling echoing from generations past. The realization that they were not the first in their family to embark on this noble mission brought solace. Their endeavors were not just a spontaneous act of kindness, but a legacy lovingly passed down. With every page turned, they felt a deeper connection with their ancestors, drawing strength and inspiration from their sacrifices and dedication. As they closed the journal, the couple shared a quiet moment of reflection. The past had revealed itself, illuminating their path forward. With renewed vigor, John and Fiona pledged to not just protect, but also to proliferate the story of these rare creatures. Standing at the cusp of their journey's end and the beginning of another, they looked ahead with hope and determination.
If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up and consider sharing it with someone who may find it interesting. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.